question, so
yeah, right.
some work to be done there, I think.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you, and you as always. See you next time on The Chase Australia.
Tonight on 7 News, the mission to save the elderly trapped in the aged care crisis. 160 seniors moved after a new wave of deaths inside homes. Families left desperate and devastated. Also breaking news, the woman behind a checkpoint stunt arrested by police. The Army gets new powers for new tactics to track down coronavirus cases. New border shutdowns spark another AFL scramble to rush teams into Queensland. A shopping centre tragedy at Moorabbin, the latest details live. And a Majak moment in an extraordinary football comeback.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Peter Mitchell starts now.
Good evening. There's a big operation underway tonight to move vulnerable seniors from aged care homes in the grip of the COVID crisis. The death toll has now climbed to 49, but we're being warned to expect many more, even though there are early signs that we may have passed the peak of the deadly second wave.
Military uniforms, hospital nurses on site and residents being taken away. This is the epicentre of Victoria's aged care crisis and the long overdue response. Epping Gardens has 83 cases. 2 residents have already died. More are being diagnosed.
Only a couple of hours ago, we got the news that Mum tested positive.
Jim Staffieri's nightmare has been repeated hundreds of times. His mum Louisa has been given the wrong medication and isn't eating. Now the Prime Minister admits the system has failed.
We should be concerned about the distressing circumstances that have unfolded in Victoria.
9 people have died in the past 24 hours in Victoria. 7 were aged care residents.
This is a difficult day. There are more difficult days to come, and we need to be honest about that.
Victoria has 295 new cases, falling for the second day in a row. Most are linked to known outbreaks, but in aged care those clusters are catastrophic. 49 residents have now died.
That is a terrible tragedy, and there will be more. There will be more deaths with the number of aged care recipients that are infected. We know that, it is a certainty. We will see deaths every day, and that is a tragedy.
There are outbreaks in 87 facilities, more than 10% of homes, with more than 800 active cases. This is the control centre in Melbourne, now trying to manage the disaster, coordinating the state and federal responses and liaising with nursing home operators.
We are dealing with an unprecedented and extremely complex and difficult situation.
In a staggering logistical operation, more than 160 residents have now been moved out to public and private hospitals across Melbourne. And with elective surgery now cancelled, more than 400 nurses have worked shifts in aged care.
Who have gone in to very challenging environments. I just want to say thank you so much on behalf of every single Victorian.
Tomorrow, the first of the emergency medical AUSMAT teams will arrive with experience in disaster zones. Their job will be to stop future large-scale outbreaks. But the Australian Medical Association says every nursing home in Victoria should now undergo an urgent risk assessment. After yesterday's bickering between state and federal ministers, today's language was more collaborative.
Australia wins when Victoria wins.
But still pointed.
There is not a second wave that is going across the rest of the country. That is not occurring. There is a significant Victorian wave.
And there's still disagreement about when the Commonwealth asked Victoria to cancel elective surgery.
I first discussed it with a senior official in Victorian Health Department, I think on the 15th of July.
There were discussions on Sunday night. There was a cabinet decision on Monday. Short of taking people off operating tables, it could be done no faster.
Jim Staffieri just hopes his mum will be among those given a bed.
She just needs to be taken out of here, taken to hospital to give her the best chance.
Jim is still waiting now to find out what will happen to his mum after days of despair and distress. Finally, these families' pleas for help are being heard. Even tonight here at Epping Gardens, we're seeing more residents being moved out and moved to hospital. And from tomorrow, we'll see even more help from around the country. We'll see the first of the specialist medical teams arrive from Darwin, and on Friday, the first of 50 nurses from South Australia. So after a slow start, it seems all levels of government are now tackling this emergency in our aged care system, with the ultimate aim, of course, to prevent any more devastating large-scale outbreaks among our most frail and vulnerable Victorians. Mitch.
Laurel Irving at Epping, thank you. And hundreds of Melbourne families are desperate for answers and action in this crisis. Others are devastated by their loss and the way their loved ones were forced to spend their last moments frightened and alone.
Tom and Laurie's mum dying from coronavirus is one thing, but what upsets the brothers more is the way they say it was handled.
Jesus Christ, it hurts, mate. It freaking hurts.
Thelma, a grandmother of 14, died at Epping Gardens yesterday morning. 10 hours later, Tom took a call from the home that floored him.
Well, this is the deal. She goes, we've got no refrigeration facilities here, so we can't put her in a fridge. And your mother's in a plastic bag and she's deteriorating while we're talking.
Mr Hyatt says Epping Gardens called him back this morning to apologise for the graphic language.
Tom, death is supposed to be dignified. Do you feel that was dignified?
No, up until 10:30 this morning, I know for a fact that mum's still in her body bag in her room.
Thelma has since been collected by a funeral home, but Tom and Laurie have been told it took so long, a viewing is no longer physically possible.
Funeral homes find themselves in the middle of this mess, dealing with increasingly overwhelmed aged care facilities and grieving families hastily arranging funerals. Coronavirus deaths present new challenges for funeral directors.
The timing of ceremonies is affected by when relatives last saw their loved one alive.
It's important that family members or friends that have associated with them isolate for a 14-day period.
Tobin Brothers claims it's one of the only companies that seals the body in an airtight bag before it's taken back to the funeral home. The fear of coronavirus spreading means it's a delicate 90-minute operation to remove bodies 6 times longer than normal. And they prepare the bodies at night when there are fewer people at the funeral home.
Back in February, we assisted the Chinese Funeral Association in writing their infectious guidelines for COVID-19.
There are lucky aged care residents who haven't had to deal with this. Noreen Winterton was transferred from Outlook Gardens in Dandenong to hospital. She's still COVID-19 negative.
It makes you question whether you've done the right thing, whether you should have kept them at home.
A narrow escape so many others missed out on. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
To breaking news now, and the COVID denier involved in a checkpoint stunt has been arrested. The details are still coming in. Tegan Doling, it was a dramatic arrest.
Yeah, it was, Mitch. The 28-year-old has almost been on the run for a week. Police have been looking for her because they've been wanting to speak to her about the breach at the checkpoint at Bunyip. And today she was spotted while driving through Carlton on Princes Street at around 2 p.m. There they pulled her over. They wanted to ask her about the breach, and they also asked to see her ID and her licence. But again, she refused to hand it over, and that's where things started to get a little bit dramatic. They asked her to wind down her window, also to step out of the car. Again, she refused, so they actually had to smash her window, and that's when she was arrested. She was taken back for questioning, and it's understood that she has been released, but she's expected to be charged with traffic offences, including failing to produce her licence and the breach of the checkpoint. Now, we have seen, Mitch, that she has boasted online on her social media that she doesn't regret anything, and we know that she also was a guest speaker at a conspiracy meeting earlier in the week, but it seems as though, Mitch, that the law has finally caught up with Eve Black.
Tegan Doling at Police Headquarters, thank you. The Army now has even more power to help fight the COVID wave, going door to door to make sure every Victorian with coronavirus is staying home. Charnel Vella has tonight's developments, and Charnel, the message clearly still isn't getting through to some.
Well, Mitch, for some, it's not getting through, but soon it will be difficult to ignore. Right now, there are more than 1,400 ADF troops on the ground here in Victoria. We've seen them at checkpoints and we've seen them walking through the city, and very soon they'll be hitting the suburbs. They're on the street and they'll be at your door if you test positive to COVID-19. The message: you better be home.
There have been 29 of those door knocks where people could not be found at home. They've been referred to Victoria Police.
18 teams of ADF troops have already made more than 500 home visits. Tomorrow, that will be ramped up.
It's a significant issue. If you are supposed to be at home isolating, then you are supposed to be at home doing just that, not out and about, not going shopping.
Positive numbers have dropped sharply in successive days since Monday's record of 532, but it's too soon to claim victory.
I will not make a declaration that we've passed the peak.
Of the 4,839 active cases in Victoria, over 1,400 were contracted through community transmission.
It hasn't gone down as much as I would have liked. The number of cases that are so-called community transmission, where the acquisition isn't known, where the source isn't known, has remained relatively stable. Not great numbers, but not going down as much as I'd like.
As Brett Sutton said on Monday, from the modelling it does look like we probably have turned the corner, but we're cautious about that.
At midnight, Victoria ticks over 3 weeks in lockdown, but there's still no confirmation restrictions will end on August 20.
I'm not reading too much into any single day's numbers. I don't think that is necessarily the right thing to do. Obviously, it's always pleasing when there are less numbers than more, but at the same time, trends are not made in one day.
School closures continue to rise, from 44 on Monday morning to 65 yesterday. Now 70 schools are closed for cleaning across the state. As those students take a break, others claim the Premier needs one too.
This has been going now for months and probably will go for a number of months. So someone else is going to have to step up for a while, I think, so that he can take a few days off.
Chanel Valla, 7 News.
The AFL is facing more chaos tonight and scrambling to rush more teams into Queensland to beat another border lockdown. Tom Brown is up on the Gold Coast. Tom, the Sydney teams now have to move, and quickly.
Mitch, as we speak, the Sydney and the Giants are packing their bags. They'll leave New South Wales tomorrow and face being hubbed for the rest of the season rather than fly in, fly out from New South Wales. Been on a developing story tonight. I can reveal the AFL is investigating potential hub breaches involving 4 Victorian clubs. Discussions between those clubs and the AFL ongoing this afternoon. A range of sanctions being discussed, all the way from a warning to fines of up to $50,000. Expect an announcement from the AFL on that sanction in the next 48 hours. This is where 400 family members will quarantine. The AFL's dedicated hotel in Southport. Now just 14 days away from being reunited with their partners and dads.
You talk about hub life and what it's like. I think it's going to be a terrific experience for some of those kids moving forward in life.
They'll land in the nick of time, but the government's on edge. And any WAG breach could cancel the season, costing the AFL hundreds of millions of dollars.
We catch up weekly, with our hub meeting, with all our families and go through the protocols around what's expected, and everyone's really bought into that.
With so much at stake, Seven can reveal the AFL's capped the family visit. They must return to Victoria 3 weeks after quarantine. Tonight, the league also considering fining Carlton, North Melbourne and Richmond for recent hub breaches. AFL bosses discussing fines up to $50,000. Tension between the AFL and clubs has been building all week. On Monday, 7 News revealed sunbaking on the beach, dining at a restaurant and theme parks are all off limits. On Tuesday, Gil McLachlan again warned clubs, specifically making reference to one hub request for their puppy to come to Queensland. It's understood one club also inquired about use of a private jet, raising eyebrows at AFL House, where they're already spending up to $4 million a week on the hubs. Mitch, on the 5 weeks, the AFL's told clubs in a memo today that that'll be funded for 5 weeks. The visit, after that, the families can pay. The 33 games in 20 days starts tonight here at Metricon. The Bulldogs and Richmond, live after the news. I'll have the latest in sport, Mitch.
Thank you, Tom Brown, on the Gold Coast. Consumers might not be feeling it, but new data shows prices in Australia have fallen for the first time since the Great Depression. The economic impact of the pandemic has led to the first official quarter of deflation in almost a century.
Deflation. It sounds like the air coming out of a balloon. And it is, if the balloon is the economy.
It was an extraordinary figure, that is, outright falls in prices.
The Consumer Price Index recording inflation of negative 1.9% for the June quarter, deflation last seen in 1931, driven mostly by 3 months of free childcare, down 95%, petrol falling 19.3%, school fees 16.2%, and at home, rents, electricity and gas all falling. But there were rises too at the supermarket. Soft drink prices up 6.1%, seafood 3.8%, women's clothing 2.9%, and cigarettes, TVs and fast food all up. The impact on shoppers also deflating.
Groceries are more expensive.
I've noticed some things have gone up.
Free childcare had a big impact on these figures, but deflation is still a telltale sign of an economy in real trouble, pulverised by the pandemic, going backwards.
What that should do is give the government pause for thought on their reductions that they're taking place in support.
Scott Morrison says he's increasing support, including considering pandemic leave for those who wouldn't be paid by the employer if they needed to self-isolate.
It's a matter I have discussed with the Minister for Industrial Relations.
Mark Riley, 7 News.
There's been a tragedy at a shopping centre car park in Moorabbin. Georgia Comensoli is there this evening with details. And Georgia, a pedestrian has been killed.
Mitch, the man was standing on the footpath behind his parked car when he was struck. The driver reversed up onto the footpath, hitting the victim. Paramedics were called to the DFO Moorabbin car park around 1 o'clock this afternoon. They worked tirelessly for half an hour to try and save the man, but sadly he died at the scene. The 83-year-old driver is helping police to try and figure out exactly how this tragic accident happened. He and his 73-year-old female passenger weren't injured. Mitch?
Georgia Comensoli at Moorabbin, thank you. Tim Watson's here now with details on what could be the footy comeback story of the decade. Good evening, Tim.
Good evening, Mitch. Yes, this is a great story. More than 19 months since Mad Jack Daw fell off the Balti Bridge. Chief football reporter Mark Stevens, the Staroo is officially back.
Tim, it's the feel-good footy story of the year, no doubt. Mad Jack Daw will play this weekend against Adelaide. He received the news at training. Fantastic scenes of joy amongst the Kangaroos, and he spoke a short time ago, Mad Jack Daw.
Be able to share those good moments. There's a lot of lows in footy, and I think this is one we can all smile about.
I'll have more with Mad Jack in sport, Tim.
Thanks, Devo. Plus, can the Dogs stake their premiership claims against a resurgent Richmond as the D's coach bristles at talk? One of his midfielders is out of favour. A shock-positive COVID test too for a Melbourne United pair as coronavirus threatens Major League Baseball. Amidst Tom Hawkins is currently facing the tribunal looking to overturn his striking ban. All that and more coming up soon.
Thank you, Tim. We'll see you then. Next, the fallout over a shocking attack on a pensioner. No remorse but no jail for 3 police officers who assaulted a vulnerable man. Also, tears for a grandmother after a fire tragedy in the eastern suburbs. A grim new development in the search for Madeleine McCann. And Johnny Depp's ex-wife booed outside court as a judge decides who's telling the truth.
We have the spark, and I really want to make that a flame.
I might have kissed someone.
What?
Can I just have a minute, please?
You're scaring me. I don't know how to fix this. Beg you, don't run away from me.
A farmer will make one of the most important decisions of his life. New farmer wants a wife. Sunday on 7.
Craving fresh? Get your free delivery fee with Subway on Uber Eats. As if you didn't need a reason to stay in already. Just spend $15 and use the promo code SUBWAY2U to get fresh, delivered free. Subway.
Life's full of and even. No matter how messy life gets, handy paper towel is handy for every situation. Handy paper towel. Keep it handy.
This story is about people. People who work their whole lives helping others. They deliver babies, they teach children, they heal the sick, and they offer dignity and hope to those who need it most. HESTA is a super fund that supports the people whose work helps others. Their stories inspire us to give them a stronger financial future and a better world to retire into. It's our way of saying thank you.
The King Living Australian Design Sale ends Sunday. Now's the time to save up to 50% on the best in Australian furniture design.
So why buy ordinary furniture when you can come home to King Furniture?
Visit us at kingliving.com.
It's time to come into the cold with the Kathmandu Winter Sale. Now up to 50% off. Stay warm and embrace the great outdoors we've all been missing. Explore great deals across the range at Kathmandu.
I laugh, I sneeze, there goes my sensitive bladder. Sound familiar? Then you'll love this. Incredible protection in a pad this thin. I didn't think it'd work, but it does. It's called Always Discreet. It has a super absorbent core that turns liquid and odour to gel and locks it away. So I know I'm wearing it, but no one else will. Always Discreet for sensitive bladder.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Make this AFL season one to remember. For 20 straight days of footy, get 20 straight days of PointsBet's early payout. Lead at half-time and you win. PointsBet.
Craving fresh? Get your free delivery fee with Subway on Uber Eats. As if you didn't need a reason to stay in already. Just spend $15 and use the promo code SUBWAY2U to get fresh delivered free. Subway.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
Three police officers have escaped jail over an assault on a disabled pensioner at Preston. The trio didn't show any remorse but have been left clear to return to work.
This was a welfare check which became an assault case. The vision of police taking disabled pensioner John Gutsoulis to ground horrified a magistrate. But it wasn't enough to send the three police officers found guilty to jail.
It's not really about the outcome. No one here is out for revenge. What we're here to do is to hold them to account and to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Senior Constable Brad McLeod was found to be the main offender. Once commended for his bravery, he now has a criminal record but won't go to jail. It was found Senior Constable Florian Hilgart had sprayed Mr Gutsoulis in the face for the amusement of McLeod. Senior Constable John Edney repeatedly struck the victim with his baton and stood on his head. Both Senior Constables Hilgart and Edney will also have to stay out of trouble for 12 months. In sentencing, Magistrate Catherine Lamble said, treating another human being that way is terrible, no matter what preceded that behaviour. The three policemen remain suspended on full pay. The force will wait until the appeal period has passed before handing out any further punishment.
It is pretty concerning that these, members might still continue to be police officers, and, I think that's something the community should certainly have some concerns about.
The officers have not expressed any remorse. Cameron Bowe, 7 News.
A great-grandmother killed in a fire tragedy is being remembered for her charity work and her kind heart. Jacoba Veet died when flames swept through her house in Melbourne's eastern suburbs.
When fire tore through this Monbulk home, it took with it a beloved great-grandmother and 61 years of family memories.
It is very hard to see this. Dad did a lot of work inside.
Jacoba Veet and her late husband raised their 4 children at the Nugent Street property. But the 96-year-old pensioner was alone last night when fire engulfed the home. Police finishing a shift at the adjacent station, the first to spot the smoke.
Lots of embers up to about probably 5 or 6 metres.
Officers raced to help and called for firefighters, but Mrs Veet couldn't be saved.
Gut-wrenching. Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Fire investigators are now working to determine what started the fire that's believed to have begun in the kitchen at the back of the home. As Mrs. Veit's children rally together to remember the devoted churchgoer, sewer and passionate home cook.
The memories will still be there, and we'll move on, but it's going to take a bit.
Jodie Lee, 7 News.
In a grim new twist to the Madeleine McCann case, police have spent the day digging up a garden plot in Germany. It's near the former home of the prime suspect in her disappearance. Christian Bruckner moved from Portugal, where Madeleine disappeared in 2007, to Germany that same year. He's currently in jail for unrelated crimes. Police won't give details on what they're looking for. Hollywood stars Johnny Depp and Amber Heard are tonight waiting for a judge to rule on who was telling the truth in the courtroom saga that's made headlines across the world. Either way, legal experts say both will suffer from the case.
After more than 3 weeks in court, Amber Heard attempted to get the final word in, saying it had all been incredibly painful.
To have my motives, my truth questioned, and the most traumatic and intimate details of my life with Johnny shared in court and broadcast to the entire world.
A behind-the-scenes look at celebrity life and Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's volatile relationship.
Got this going.
In his closing statement, Depp's barrister saying Johnny Depp kitchen cupboard beater he can live with, but Johnny Depp wife beater he cannot. His case against the Sun newspaper has become a piece of welcome theatre in COVID hit London. Fans today rewarded with thank you notes and bandanas as his lawyer called Amber Heard a compulsive liar who faked injuries using her makeup skills.
I stand by my testimony, and I now place my faith in British justice.
A case that has attracted so much global attention will be decided by one judge. A decision isn't due until at least September.
In the court of public opinion, Depp and Heard are both losers in this case.
In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
Back home, the online delivery surge is proving easy pickings for thieves. Next, exclusive video that shows the tactics they're using to steal from under your nose. Also, why a Melbourne holiday for two friends has put Queensland on high alert. How real Karens are fighting back to clear their name. And a message from out of the blue for the 95-year-old footy fan who beat COVID.
A good curry will transport you to the streets of India.
The perfect pasta can take you to Italy.
You may not be able to travel the world right now, but these flavours are about to take you there.
This dish is Vietnam.
This is taking me back to my little corner of France when I was 8 years old.
Wow, that is the very best. Simple perfection.
It's being able to travel the world without moving from my city.
This is the World Cup of cooking.
Welcome to Flight of Origin.
Hey everyone, Courtney Ralston here. Now that age-old question just keeps coming up in our house every day, and that's what's for dinner? If you're after quick, easy and delicious recipes, then you'll love the Coles What's for Dinner range. There's over 80 recipes to choose from, all are ready in under 30 minutes and only require 5 ingredients or less. On tonight's menu, we're cooking the easy leek and bacon frittata. So let's get on with the cooking. Okay, the 5 ingredients you'll need is some rineless bacon. I've got a beautiful fresh leek. We need about 3/4 of a cup of cream. We've got some beautiful cherry tomatoes still on the vine, nice and sweet. And you'll need 10 eggs. All right, first job, just heat up some extra virgin olive oil in a non-stick frying pan. Now with our leek, we just need to slice this. All right, just pop that leek into a pan that's on a nice medium heat. Add in a touch of sea salt and a bit of black pepper. All right, the next job is just to slice up our bacon. So I'll just slice this into battens. All right, that bacon can go in with the leeks and we just need to cook this for a couple of minutes. So I've got 10 Coles free-range eggs here. I'm just gonna crack them into a bowl. We're going in with about 3/4 of a cup of cream. Eggs love a bit of salt, so season them with some sea salt and a little bit more cracked pepper. Give them a whisk up with a fork. Now, all we need to do is to pour our eggs over the leek and the bacon mixture. All right, we can give that a little mix. Just cover that with a lid or a tray. Give that about 8 to 10 minutes. Keep it cooking and then we'll come back and check on it. All right, let's have a look under our little lid here. You can see our frittata, it's still got a little bit of a wobble in it. So I'm gonna finish this in under the grill in the oven. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna pop these sweet, bursty tomatoes on a tray. And these can go under the grill with the frittata. All right, dinner in an absolute flash. There we have it. Our frittata has set to become beautiful and golden. Check that out. I'm gonna pop this onto a serving plate. Cut ourselves a nice, generous piece of frittata. All right, our blistered tomatoes, they just go on top. If you like the look of this recipe, you can find this plus many more Coles What's for Dinner recipes over at coles.com.au. Or why not sign up to the Coles digital catalogue with new recipes every week? Dinner does not need to be stressful, but it certainly can be delicious. See you next Wednesday.
Online shopping is booming in Melbourne during the second lockdown. Australia Post says deliveries have doubled in July, but the surge has led to a warning about mail theft.
Just moments after it was delivered, Bronwyn Murphy's parcel was taken by a stranger.
The man was actually standing behind the postie and he literally followed her in, picked up my parcel and ran off.
Ms Murphy believes the man had been following the postie for some time and accessed her Elwood apartment complex by pressing multiple doorbells.
Someone else had to let him in, but he could have just said, hey, I've got a delivery for you, and that person has just open the door.
Her warning comes as Melbourne's second lockdown sends shoppers online. Australia Post says there were twice as many deliveries in the first 3 weeks of July compared to the same time last year. The three biggest categories: food and liquor, home goods and health and beauty.
Australia Post says if a parcel is taken from a resident's property after it's been delivered, it should be reported to police immediately. If you're worried about one being taken, you can have it delivered to a post office, a PO box or a delivery locker.
There could be a syndicate of opportunistic people out there. I hate for it to happen to anyone else.
Estelle Griepink, 7 News.
2 young women have put Queensland on high alert after returning from a Melbourne holiday with coronavirus. Police believe they illegally avoided going into quarantine when they got back to Brisbane. Now a friend has also tested positive.
An entire school community, students, staff, their families, tested because a cleaner allegedly lied about travelling to Victoria.
Obviously, they just got no blatant regard for anyone else.
It's just disappointed that people are not doing the right thing.
She was one of 2 Queensland 19-year-old women holidaying in Melbourne. It's believed they attended this party in Elizabeth Street, raided by police who find all there. They flew back to Brisbane via Sydney on July 21st and did not declare they'd been to Melbourne.
The initial investigations indicate that there are incorrect details on border declaration passes.
One returned to work at the school, both mingled in the community before both tested positive yesterday.
They were in the community for 8 days when they should have been quarantined.
Now a third person, a contact of theirs, has also tested positive. The school and local shopping centres are closed for deep cleaning and all area aged care facilities are in lockdown.
I'm absolutely furious that this has happened.
Inflaming interstate tension, Queensland will ban all Sydney residents from Saturday morning.
What we have seen in Victoria, we definitely do not want to see here in Queensland.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
Australia's Foreign Affairs Minister has made it clear we don't always agree with America. In Washington to announce closer military cooperation, Marise Payne is resisting pressure to join more aggressive patrols in the South China Sea.
Travelling halfway around the world to a virus epicentre to meet face-to-face.
Not many partners would do that for us.
Australia praised for standing up to Beijing.
It is unacceptable for Beijing to use exports or student fees as a cudgel against Australia. We stand with our Australian friends.
From Foreign Minister Marise Payne, a more careful line.
The relationship that we have with China is important, and we have no intention of injuring it.
Both nations called China's claims in the South China Sea illegal, but Australia is resisting pressure to further its freedom of navigation exercises in the region.
We will operate wherever international law allows.
But our government has agreed to a US-funded military fuel reserve in Darwin and closer cooperation on new technology. China's response accusing the US of ratcheting up tensions. These high-level talks were held in a high-risk setting, both nations battling the coronavirus and the politics of the pandemic.
Some countries are using the pandemic to undermine liberal democracy.
Australia's delegation now headed back, the ministers exempt from hotel rules, set to quarantine for 14 days at home. In Washington, D.C., Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
Karens across Australia are fighting back with positivity after their name was dragged through the mud by anti-mask protesters. The latest woman to post video online filmed herself turning up to Dandenong Police Station demanding justice.
Chantel Watergate was arrested for refusing to wear a mask and show ID.
So I am about to serve them some paperwork.
Because she claims she has a medical reason not to wear one.
I did nothing wrong. I had proof that I had asthma.
While the majority of Melburnians are wearing masks, the DHHS website says you don't need to wear one if you have a medical condition like asthma, and you don't need a certificate to prove it. Women flouting lockdown laws have been dubbed Karens.
We the people do not consent to these draconian laws.
It's now sparked a different kind of defiance.
I'm here today to reclaim the name Karen.
A new campaign recognising those Karens who are following the rules.
My name's Karen. I've worked for Ambulance Victoria for 30 years. And to have my name and the names of lots of other amazing Karens that I know linked to all of that, I think is offensive.
Louisa Cheatley, 7 News.
Carlton's AFL coach David Teague has sent a special message to one of Victoria's oldest COVID survivors. 95-year-old Victor Cornell has spent the past few weeks fighting for his life.
I just wanted to wish you all the best, stay strong, stay positive, and hopefully our boys can go out there and excite you on this weekend.
The Blues supporter was absolutely delighted to receive the message. There's some new hope in the battle with Alzheimer's. Ahead, the simple test that could detect the disease 20 years before symptoms show. Also an update on the fire that sent smoke across Melbourne's northern suburbs. And millions up for grabs in what's supposed to be Australia's biggest supermarket giveaway.
Front bar's on after the footy.
Straight after the Tigers beat the Doggies.
Wouldn't be so sure about that, Mickey. The Dogs are going pretty nicely at the moment.
OK, straight after the Tigers beat the Doggies in a tight one.
I don't know. I wouldn't be giving it to you.
OK, after the Doggies beat the Tigers in double extra time.
Keep trying.
The Front Bar, tonight after the footy on 7.
Tigers!
When the path reveals itself, follow it. But if the path then disappears, you may want Sync 3 sat-nav technology.
Life's full of and even. No matter how messy life gets, Handy Paper Towel is handy for every situation. Handy Paper Towel. Keep it handy.
Jess, I love your take on those metrics. Now, Greg, let's talk optics. Is that a pie chart? Because that's a sexy pie chart.
Grab a tasty power lunch at 7-Eleven.
Hey, check this. Powerball has jackpotted to $20 million. Sound good? Grab a ticket today.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
With Allianz Comprehensive Car Insurance, we guarantee all the repairs we authorise.
Hey, good to go.
Looks great. Thanks.
Get that Allianz feeling. Call or search for a quote today.
Want to sell something for instant cash? Looking to buy from a huge range of quality second-hand goods for less? Cash Converters. Find us online or visit us in store.
Does your energy provider chip in for your internet? Dodo does. Yep, we're an energy company and an internet company, which is why you get unlimited data on our NBN 50 plan for just $60 a month when you also get electricity and gas. Switch at dodo.com.
No excuses. Just use the step ladder. How's the weekend?
Did absolutely.
He's fallen! He's fallen! Get the belt. He's gone over the edge.
If you don't take care of them at work and make sure they can return home safe every day, we'll make sure you face the consequences. Because workplace manslaughter is now a jailable offence.
Firefighters worked through the night to monitor an out-of-control blaze that ripped through a Thomastown factory late yesterday. It took crews more than 2.5 hours to bring the fire under control. The fire was deemed safe this morning. The cause is still being investigated, but it's believed an exploding forklift was to blame. Researchers have developed a simple blood test to diagnose Alzheimer's disease. It replaces the need for a brain scan or spinal tap and is another step towards the goal of treatment and prevention.
It's a complex condition, but now there's hope for a simpler diagnosis. A blood test which measures the build-up of a specific protein which damages and kills brain cells, in turn leading to memory loss and personality changes.
An inexpensive and easy way to get a more definitive diagnosis, which will ultimately help us to get to a method for prevention and effective treatments faster.
The blood test just as accurate as a brain scan or spinal tap. Australian researchers say it's an important development.
This is very exciting news indeed. It becomes so much easier to do a blood test.
Around 342,000 Australians have dementia, but that number's set to rise to 400,000 in less than a decade. Worldwide, at least 44 million people have the condition. News of the blood test broke at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference, held online due to COVID.
Also revealed the results of a study which detected signs of the disease 20 years before symptoms appeared in a group of people who carry a rare genetic mutation.
The next step, more research and clinical trials. It's hoped the blood test will be available in around 2 years. Nina Stevens, 7 News.
Coles is giving away tens of thousands of dollars in vouchers in what it says is one of the biggest shopping giveaways in Australia. Big prizes are up for grabs when customers spend $30 on everyday items.
It's big. It's not about prices are down. It's giving Aussies new experiences.
Drawing attention to some of the places and experiences that Australians haven't got to see for a while, and now we're really drawing people into these places.
From today, customers will instantly win one of millions of prizes, including a $4,000 holiday, by checking the code on their docket after purchasing 3 participating products in one transaction at Coles supermarkets and online, 2 at Coles Express.
These vouchers will be on offer for 18 months, so there's plenty of time to be able to redeem.
For the kids, 24 Little Treehouse collection books. Somewhere out there, there is an ultra-rare gold book to be found.
The Little Treehouse books are really going to encourage kids across Australia to read.
Woolworths is supporting the feed appeal. There's been a 50% increase in the number of Australians seeking food relief since COVID-19 began.
It goes to support all local charities. And a $2 donation can feed up to 4 people.
Giving back when it's needed the most. Steve Titmus, 7 News.
Sports next with Tim Watson. And Tim, there's breaking news on a star cat.
That's right, Mitch. We're live for the latest on Tom Hawkins' tribunal case. Next, also coming up, a late out for the Bulldogs ahead of tonight's crucial clash with Richmond. Hear from a jubilant Majak Dor as his remarkable comeback gets the green light. An X-Factor demon dropped as a forgotten bomber eyes a comeback of his own. And an Ashes villain joins an exclusive club.
her son's death is his second chance.
Lucky you saved my life. Find better ways to use it than being a prick.
But the secret...
Were you in on it?
No.
Her son was hiding.
I will never forgive you if you lie to me.
Will start an unstoppable chain of events.
We have to protect him from the truth.
Between Two Worlds. Sunday, 8:30 on 7.
Woolworths Rewards is now everyday rewards. So get your Woolies worth with exclusive app-only offers and access your points boosters to fast-track your savings. Download the app today.
That's why I pick Woolies.
This Saturday with Sportsbet at 2 tracks for all races. Finish second or third and get up to $50 back in bonus bets. That's 18 races with Sportsbet.
At the Mazda Open Road Sale, you'll discover great value, like Mazda CX-9 Sport from $45,990 drive away. And right now, across the state, we're still open to support you.
At E&S, get massive savings on washing machines and dryers, like this 8kg Bosch with Allergy Plus, just $8.99. And save $200 on every ASCO laundry appliance, like this ASCO front loader, now only $13.99. Plus get free delivery and removal on selected appliances. Our consultants are kitchen, bathroom and laundry experts, and we won't be beaten on price. So visit one of our 9 showrooms today or shop online and get the E&S feeling for less.
Can care be better at home?
Someone from Medibank mentioned that there's a chance I can do rehab at home.
I said, oh, how much extra is that going to cost?
And they said, no, you've got it in your hospital cover. It just was fantastic for me.
The 100% Aussie beef in Macca's Burgers comes from farms like David's in Queensland.
My family supplies 100% Aussie beef to McDonald's.
Thanks, David. Get into Macca's for hot, juicy, tasty burgers today.
Complete your skincare regime with a little help from the inside with Nature's Way Beauty Collagen Tablets from Chemist Warehouse. Formulated with Virasol collagen peptides and antioxidants, it works from within to help enhance collagen formation and improve skin firmness and elasticity by supporting the internal structure of the skin. Nature's Way Beauty Collagen Tablets are only $14.99 at Chemist Warehouse. Complete your beauty regime with Australia's #1 collagen supplement. Live, look, feel well at Chemist Warehouse.
With more than 20% protein for muscle development, Nutri-Grain is one of the highest protein cereals.
Welcome back. There's breaking news from AFL House. The Tom Hawkins verdict has just been handed down. Chief Football reporter Mark Stevens is tracking the case. And Steve-O, the Cats are breathing a sigh of relief.
Tim, they are just in Tom Hawkins' one tonight. So that one match ban has been scrapped and he's free to play against West Coast this weekend. Now, Geelong argued the contact was not to the head, instead to the collarbone, and it was deemed body contact. So he's copped a $1,000 fine, but he's free to play. So great news for Geelong and well fought at the tribunal. 2 nights in a row, players have won at the tribunal. Certainly rare indeed. Now, elsewhere, Dan Hanbury, he'll have hamstring surgery here in Melbourne tomorrow. He was pre-booked, so only just beat the cut-off for elective surgery. He'll be the last AFL player to have what is routine AFL-type surgery here in Melbourne for some time, with only emergency surgery allowed. So players will be forced now to remain interstate to have serious operations. And there's some team news for tomorrow night's game. Bennell's been rested at Melbourne. They're managed, if you like. Tom McDonald's back in, the key forward from injury. No Lysette at Port, but good news is that Tommy Rockcliffe's back. But the big news is Majak Dawes back in town. The celebrations said it all. Majak Daw named to make a return to senior footy. It will be 706 days between games.
There were days where I thought I was so far off it, both physically and then seeing other guys playing and wanting to play with them. There were moments when I was just like, geez, when's my moment going to come?
Daw injured his hips and pelvis in a fall from the Balti Bridge in late December 2018. It's a win for more than just Daw.
I was just really determined to do it, and I think the incentive being that I can actually help other people people that I don't know. You know, there's been so many people that have been in touch with me. They've shared with me their battles with mental health, and I think for me that's a pretty big responsibility.
Touring Queensland and missing his son Hendrix.
So proud of him, and you know he's growing each day. And lucky the game's in the afternoon, so he can see me on tally.
Mark Stevens, 7 News.
The Festival of Footy begins shortly with the Bulldogs taking on the Tigers in the first of 20 straight nights of footy. Return to Tom Brown at Metricon Stadium. Tom, the Dogs have made a late change.
Tim, we know Richmond made 4 changes, including Trent Cotchin in. The Dogs have made a late change. Trengove in for young star Waitman, who's being managed. Now, Trengove has previously done jobs on Tom Lynch and expect him to get a similar role tonight, with so much emphasis on the performance of containing and the performance of the Tigers' forward line.
We've always been pretty competitive against them, and certainly if we can play the game in our forward half where they like to repel, we've got to be efficient going in our forward half, and certainly around the stoppage, you know, if we can match their dynamic nature, we think our guys are going pretty well and got some milestone men in there that will do the job for us. It will be exciting.
Meantime, with Tasmania's borders firmly shut, the AFL's been forced to make a fixture change. North against Melbourne in round 11, moved from Blundstone Arena to Adelaide. That's still a Melbourne home game. And just further to my story earlier on about the AFL investigating up to 4 Victorian clubs for hub breaches, I should explain North's breach really at the minor end of the scale. Attendance from some family at a game, but optics-wise, the AFL's under big pressure with the Queensland government watching on to be very genuine in terms of any sanctions. Tim?
Pressure everywhere. Thanks, Tom. Melbourne coach Simon Goodwin has rubbish suggestions Angus Brayshaw has fallen out of favour. Goodwin insists Brayshaw's midfield minutes haven't been reduced in recent weeks.
Look, it's a subject I'm sick of talking about. It's a non-topic for me and something we should all move on from. He obviously had a quiet game last week, but his form leading up to that, you know, has been solid.
Meanwhile, forgotten Essendon forward James Stewart is in the selection mix to take on Brisbane on Friday night. 790 days since he last played an AFL game. Both Melbourne NBL teams have suspended training after 2 Melbourne United players tested positive to COVID-19. Mitch McCarron and Joe Lual-Akil returned positive tests after training at MSAC with teammates and staff now in self-isolation. Meantime, the Major League Baseball season is hanging by a thread after 17 Miami Marlins players and staff tested positive for coronavirus. All Miami games until Sunday have been postponed. And England's Stuart Broad has become just the 7th player to take 500 Test wickets.
Must be! It is 500 for Stuart Broad. What a moment. Into the gallery of greats he goes.
Broad took 10 for the match as England won by 269 runs, sealing a 2-1 series victory over the West Indies. And Mitch, put up your feet tonight. The Dogs and the Tigers coming up straight after the news. That's followed by the front bar. The special guest tonight, Aussie Jones and Gil McLaughlin. I tried to get the times changed for the start of the game tonight to about 20 past 7 so that I could get home to watch it, but our boss was having none of it.
To quote Roy in HG, Tim, when too much footy is barely enough. I'm looking forward to it all. Thank you.
Me too.
A feast indeed. Jane Bunn is next with the forecast. And Jane, will the glorious sunshine last?
Mitch, sunshine returns again tomorrow. Then it is staying with us for the next few days. The full forecast is next.
Tonight on The Latest, inside Victoria's aged care COVID crisis. 2 daughters who lost their dad join me with their shocking story. New Zealand's lockdown mastermind reveals his successful strategy and how our cost of living is set to change again thanks to COVID-19. That's the latest from 7 News after the front bar.
Whatever happens, I want to be with you.
She's gone out with one guy while she's in with his brother.
Is there something going on between you two?
A body is about to surface. Home and Away, weeknights on 7.
Household bills keep going up. You could save money by living in the dark, wearing 7 layers and surviving on a diet of canned tuna. Or you could just compare, select and save on heaps of stuff with iSelect.
I can have a strong skin, love.
Strong skim latte, please.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please? Sir, did you say strong skim latte?
Yeah, medium, please.
When only drive-through will do. We'll be here.
Be quick, Energy Australia's Winter Warmer deal is in its last days. Switch and get a $50 electricity sign-up credit and a $50 gas sign-up credit. But hurry, offer ends July 31. Join today.
Want to try retinol but worried it'll irritate your skin? Try Olay's new Retinol Night Moisturiser from Chemist Warehouse. The formula uses a gentler type of bioavailable retinoid that penetrates deep into the skin. It renews and resurfaces skin with 24-hour hydration, so you can wake up to plumper, younger-looking skin. Olay Retinol Night Moisturiser is $29.99 at Chemist Warehouse. Pair with Olay Retinol 24 Eye Cream. Live, look, feel fabulous every day at Chemist Warehouse.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
You'll fall in love with YouFood's ever-changing menu of chef-inspired meals, snacks and drinks, packed full of locally sourced Aussie farm fresh ingredients, delivered safely to your door 7 days a week. It's healthy eating made easy.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of dinner with Coles brand Aussie Fresh RSPCA approved chicken portions with a delicious herb sprinkle. Down to just $6.50 a kilo. Coles, good things, great value.
Better get your best at things like this that racing fans love.
Do it, baby.
Go on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. That's money back to fourth daily. PointsBet.
I'd like to taste a real Italian coffee, please.
What is the real Italian coffee?
L'espresso.
You mean barista?
Yes, new Lavazza Espresso Barista. Specially selected and gently drum roasted. From the masters of espresso to you.
The Bulldogs versus the Tigers in a Premiership Contender Showdown. Wednesday night footy on 7.
There's a reason we say nobody knows Melbourne
It was that it would also spread.
like 7 News.
Police label the behaviour selfish.
Melbourne's best team.
Stage 4 restrictions are still...
Our job is to report to you, for you, every night.
Nobody knows news like 7.
Hello again. Sunshine returned this afternoon, and to get used to it as we're entering a sunny stretch of weather. We reached a top of 16. That's our warmest day in nearly 3 weeks. The afternoon was very different to the morning, with a large area of foggy low cloud that moved in and out of the suburbs and city too. But it finally cleared to sunshine right through. The day ended on a pleasant note. A few suburbs reached 17. But there's more cloud sweeping through tonight. That'll produce light showers this evening and early tomorrow. There were several large areas of fog in Victoria and sunshine widespread, even in soggy East Gippsland. A band of cloud across the southwest this afternoon, but the showers aren't adding up to much. These light showers are from cold fronts that are weakening and falling away to our south. High pressure is in control, and a large area of that is set to move directly overhead and linger here for a few days. So tonight's showers are light and only affect southwest and central parts. It is all dry by lunchtime tomorrow, and we go into a stretch of sunny days. The next front passes by later Saturday into Sunday. Showers just brush the coast here. The rest stay dry. Then we see a change in the pattern early next week. Showers are likely to come up from the south with a cold outbreak. Proper winter weather that we haven't seen for a while. Then there could be a wandering low, delivering rain to whoever is in its path. Now this here is one scenario, but that'll jump around on the maps before it arrives. Around the nation tomorrow, there's hardly any wet weather. It's either fog then sunshine, full sunshine, or a mix of sun and cloud. around. Looking at the first few footy games, and tonight's and tomorrow night's games, both in Queensland, are both dry. Showers spread through Perth on Friday, but it should clear just in time for the game at night. It continues dry at Metricon on Friday night. Back to Victoria, and tonight's front is just enough to stop the frost, except in the northeast of the state. We have areas of morning fog. They'll be widespread in the west, then generally sunny tomorrow. Showers in the south, they're light and they're isolated, and they clear out by lunchtime. Closer in, and that drizzle clears these eastern suburbs early on. We've got areas of cloud breaking up for another sunny afternoon. It is a bit cooler though, as we have light to moderate southwesterly winds. The city's dry with some cloud in the morning, then bright afternoon sunshine. It's a top of 14. To the 8-day outlook, 3 sunny days follow. That is Friday and across the weekend as well. That front stays right to the south. We barely see anything from that. It reaches 17 on Saturday. We feel a change later on Monday, then some very cold weather into next week. At the moment, the heaviest days are Tuesday and next Thursday. A bit cooler tomorrow, 14. There is a morning cloud and then a pleasant sunny afternoon, Mitch.
So sunshine on the way, but then absolute rubbish next week.
Oh, yes,
Back
but
to
at least
winter.
it's the weekend. That's good. We'll take the sunshine then, I think.
Yeah, and this is Melbourne in late winter, isn't it?
It is indeed.
That's right. Thank you, Jane. I keep reminding myself. And that's the way it is this Wednesday, the 29th of July. Thanks for your company. Now on 7, we're taking you to the Gold Coast for night 1 of the Festival of Footy with the Bulldogs versus the Tigers from the 7 News team. Good night.
To watch home